Hello everybody, we are back for tutorial number 4, and I actually wasn't planning to do tutorial today, but I just happened to be flying over a dragon spawn and thought, you know what, let's do a dragon hunting tutorial. Now, there's not much difference between this and last year's dragon hunting tutorial, but this is 2018 and we're going to update this. If you've already seen mine from last year, there's not much difference aside from perhaps the music. Now let's get down to what is dragon hunting. First of all, dragon hunting it can be done anywhere on your map, except for in the capital. There's not too many dragons going to be flying around in the capital cities, but the further you get from the capitals, the better chance you're going to run in to a whole lot of dragons. The further you are, the more in the wilderness you are, the more they tend to be everywhere. Now, we happen to be in a place that isn't just in the middle of nowhere, but is also in the middle of what I would call a dragon spawn. If we look on our map, so you can go to your world map, there's certain icons that will tell you where the best places to find hordes of dragons are. So see this little icon right here, little dragon face. There's another one down here. There's another one up there. They're all over the place. So these are the best places to hunt dragons, but be warned, they come in enormous numbers if you blow dragon horn, which I'll explain in just a moment. So be ready and have lots of crystals. I'm not going to say that you have to be a paying player that buys gold in order to dragon hunt, but I will say that you will need to buy gold with silver at least in order to properly dragon hunt, because you do have to have crystals. They are an absolute necessity if you want to survive. If you don't, your ship will die very quickly. Or alternatively, you can use armor. That is an alternative. If you can make your own armor and use it, totally works too. It just takes a lot of weight, so make sure you bring a ship that can carry all that weight. So to hunt dragons, you want to equip as many machine guns as possible. The best guns I found are the 140s. However, I've got 110s at the moment. So they will work though, because we're using armor-piercing ammo, which kills dragons virtually instantly the moment it touches them. My range of fire is 773, about 750 or so, because max range, the accuracy tends to be pretty poor. And 750 is a little bit better. If I had 140s or bee throwers, for instance, I would definitely put max range 1000. Bee thrower guns are very cheap to buy, but the ammo is virtually impossible to find unless you make it yourself, or unless you want to pay a just ridiculous amount of gold. And the cool thing about bee thrower ammo is it never misses. It will always hit its target, but every single bullet costs quite a bit. So in order to properly dragon hunt, you're going to need the following. You're going to need crystals, as we discussed. You'll always need your navigation system, no matter what. And you'll need an auto collector. You'll see here in the enhancement slot to the right. That costs, I think 100 gold. I don't actually remember. But again, you can buy gold with silver. I'm not going to go and do a long thing about, pay-to-win mechanics. If you've made it to this tutorial, you're probably at least comfortable with the idea of buying gold with silver. Okay, and we are going to get started here. So here's how we summon a ton of dragons. Now, if you look at my map, down here to the bottom left, you'll see these little red icons. Those indicate dragons or enemies. In this case, I have no enemies, so they're definitely dragons. And they are incoming. Here comes one right now. But ultimately, this isn't a very good way to do dragon hunting, because it's not that many dragons. It's 10, 11 maybe. It's not a big deal. But we are over a dragon spawn. If you look on the map, I happen to be at the dragon spawn located on R8. That's Romeo 8. You can't really see it because I've got an icon on the map right now. You can kind of see it there. You see this right here? That's a dragon. So I'm right on a dragon spawn. How do I get all these dragons to come out and play? I blow a dragon horn. In order to use the horn, you need to buy it. They're relatively cheap. They're 10 gold a piece, which is pretty dang cheap. And you need the skill in order to summon the dragons. So that skill, if you scroll all the way down in your skill tree, is right here. It's called Dragon Call. You can learn it up to 3 levels. Each level increases increases the range by 5 miles. So level 1 is a 5-mile range, 2 is 10, and 3, which is what I have, is a 15-mile summoning range. So when I blow this horn, every dragon within 15 miles that can spawn will spawn, and they'll all come after me. So let's do that and see what happens. Click on my horn, dragon horn, blah, 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 activate. You can either press the number 6 on your keyboard, not number pad. The number pad numbers don't work for these, but the actual number 6, or you could just click activate, which is what we're going to do. Now watch the map. You're going to see it slowly start to add dragons. And because I'm on a spawn, we'll probably see a whole bunch of them before this all finishes. You'll see in my hold, I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 crystals. Hopefully that's enough. They may even get through all those. This dragon spawn, if I recall, is a fairly mild one. If I'll give you a little secret here if you want to go maximum dragon carnage. The best dragon spawn I've ever found is right here in P17. That's Papa 17. There is an unbelievable number of dragons that will spawn there if you blow your horn. And I don't recommend anything smaller than a merchant or a negotiator as far as number of guns go. You know, we've got plenty of machine guns. If you've got a mammoth or I can't remember the human equivalent of it, but basically the carrier ship, those can fit, I think, 14 machine guns. Then you'll be in pretty good territory. Don't bring a sutler, don't bring a tractor or brawler or any of those smaller balloons. They just will not be able to kill the dragons fast enough. You'll be going through crystals like crazy, which is like eating up gold. And that's a bad thing. Now, as these guys are falling around me, you'll see here on the right, it says they're killed, and then I'm picking up parts from their dead bodies. That is thanks to the auto collector. Auto collector will collect anything from my ship within, it's not 2 miles, 300 yards. There it is, yeah. So 300 yards from my ship. Now, there's going to be a second tutorial once I can get my dragon hunting settlement down, and it's going to be called dragon hunting, you know, tier 2 or something like that. You can place a settlement, put guns on it, and do dragon calls directly from the settlement and get a ton of loot because it pulls up to 2 miles of loot. In this ship, once I'm done dragon hunting, I'm going to have to kind of go around and hoover it all up, suck it all up like a vacuum. But for now, you want to be absolutely motionless. You want to be very close to the ground because if you're 4 miles above the ground, they will come up to you, but as they fall at an angle. They don't fall straight down. So they might land 4 miles away from where you killed them, and it's super annoying to zip around and pick up all that loot all over the place. Much simpler to just sit right above the ground, let them come to you, and have most of the loot drop right around you so you don't have to do too much searching. You see my map is getting quite a bit of red now. The dragons are gathering, and my ship is doing its best to kill them off. Just be aware that when you kill a dragon, sometimes if it's already blowing its fire, if you kill it, it will continue to blow its fire all the way to the ground. I confirmed with the developers last week, in fact, that this is by design. It's not a bug, or maybe it is, and they just called it a feature. We all know how that is, bugs being features. But they said they intentionally made it so that when you shoot a dragon down, if it's already blowing fire, see, that's a perfect example right there, that it will continue to blow fire as it falls to its death. I think it's cool. I actually hope they don't take that away. I think that's a pretty neat looking feature. And another thing is if you kill dragons over the water, they'll actually fall underneath the water and their fire will continue to burn for a moment, and you get this cool glow that reflects from beneath the water. So here's our dragon hunting. We've got a layer of clouds above us, so it's a little hard to see, but they are definitely here en masse. So your question might be, why do dragon hunting at all? You know, what is the benefit? What is the purpose to doing it? In the past, killing dragons gave you reputation. That's how I got most of all this reputation here. But now that no longer is the case. Killing dragons does not give you reputation. It just kills dragons. Well, the loot from dragons is very useful for multiple reasons. Reason number one, especially if you're a new player and you're looking for a good reason to go kill dragons, is this right here. Kill 100, well, this is the tier 6 version of the achievement, way beyond what you're at right now. I think the first achievement is to kill 10 of them, which is very easy. Then after that it's 100, and then I think 1,000. It scales pretty quickly. It gets pretty hard, but killing dragons gets you your achievement money, which we all know is very important early on. And also, with the loot that you acquire, use in production 30,000 of dragon parts. Well, that's, again, poor English. What that really is asking is use 30,000 dragon parts for any sort of production activity, meaning making cores, making shrapnel, making sinew launchers for torpedoes. There's all kinds of things you can do with dragon loot in order to mainly make ammo. It's 99% ammo. You can use dragon meat, this stuff right here, to make food, but to be honest, you can get food right out of the ground. It's not really useful enough to keep, and it's very heavy, so I just toss it out. Dragon leather is used to make balloons. Also, you can use dragon leather, and I think it's bile, if I'm not mistaken, to make sailcloth if you want to make a sail ship. Like, for example, any ship that has a sail on it. Wolf 100, Boar 100, Wolf 150, Boar 150. And tongues are useless. I tend to throw those out if I don't have room for them. Eyes are used for heat-seeking missiles, or they call them eye missiles because they're, this is a steampunk theme. This is not modern day. And claws are used to make cutters, which are used to make really high-tier weapons. Claws are not as valuable because they're very easy to come by, and you don't use very many of them to make cutters. So it's up to you whether you want to keep them or not. Next, you have your flame glands. Those are used to make bee ammo. Very important if you want to make that ammo. If you don't plan to, or if you don't want to go through the trouble of collecting enough of them to matter, then just toss them off your ship or sell them. You can sell all dragon loot for a price at any city. It doesn't really fetch very much money, but it's better than zero, right? And then, of course, dragon blood is part of the production for bees in order to get bee ammo. Scales is used to make improved missile launchers, which are awesome. They're basically the launchers that launch the heat-seeking missiles. And then dragon sinew, I already mentioned. It's used primarily for torpedo launchers, and you need tons of it to make the straps. So hold on to this if you plan to make torpedoes. Torpedoes are super useful for bases, especially because they travel up to, I want to say 7 or 9 miles. I can't remember, but they travel quite a few miles, and they do 1,000,000 damage when they hit, and they can't miss. So yeah, very awesome to have those. And then, of course, dragon teeth are just to make armor-piercing ammo, which is what I'm shooting with right now. I should come out of this with more armor-piercing components than I spent in ammo, so I'll be net positive at the end of this. And dragon bone is, of course, shrapnel for explosive ammo. Now, one thing I'm missing, I think, is the stuff that I need to make cores. Let's see here. It wasn't teeth. I think it was claws or something like that. Anyway, there's, I believe, 9 different types of dragon loot, 9 or 12, and 3 of them are useless. Eggs is another one that we haven't looted because I don't have room for it and I don't want it. Eggs are totally useless. They used to be able to spawn a dragon to come and protect you, but as you can see, dragons are chumps. They die very easy. They're not worth it to even keep those eggs, so sell those or don't even pick them up if you can. And now the dragons are really piling on. A cool mechanic of the game is every time you kill a dragon, more dragons will come and avenge it. So there is a tipping point at which they'll stop coming, but you'll notice that my map is getting much more crowded with red now. That's because as I kill these dragons, their friends come and, hey, you killed my buddy, and they'll come and try to get revenge on you. Alright, as you can see here, I've lost a crystal. Each crystal that I'm using, the tier 10s, defense 10s, are 1,000,000 damage each, so these dragons have basically burnt through 1,000,000 HP. So I'm going to click on one of my crystals that I have in my hold, activate it, and there we go. Oh, here we go. Dragon Fangs. So Fangs is what you use to make just basic ammo. And now my ship should have 4 crystals. Another cool thing they've done since my last tutorial in 2017 is instead of each crystal taking its own damage, when you install a new crystal, it pushes all the damage that's been spread out between the others to whatever the top crystal in the list is. That way you've always got perfectly healthy 1 million damage crystals that haven't been hurt, and your top level crystal is the only one that's actually taken damage. That way, you know, if you want to ever resell your crystals, a lot of people do that, then you can sell perfect ones. This one's getting burnt down. You see those numbers going down quickly? Once the dragons really start swarming, you're going to see tons of damage. I recommend 4 in your mid slots and probably at least 4 in your cargo bay. Again, it depends on the ship. If you've got a mammoth or the human one, which again I can't remember, that has 14 machine guns on it, you might be able to get away with a little bit less. And if you have B ammo, you might be able to get away with no crystals and maybe a few in the mid slots, because Bs never miss and the dragons will rarely even reach your ship. There we go, we just burnt through another one. Yeah, these guys are coming on real strong now. You see this swarm? It's a pretty good swarm. Dragon hunting is best on dragon spawns. Alternately, if you don't want to go this far out, you're a little worried about pirates attacking you, you can stay close to the capital cities and just look for the highest mountain you can find, go next to it, and blow a dragon horn there. Dragons love mountains, they love rocks. The reason there's a lot of them around here is there's a lot of plateaus, and they hide out in cliff faces. There's a lot of dragon nests. You can't really see it on my thing here thanks to these stupid clouds. But yeah, they tend to live in the cliffs. So here's dragon tongue. We don't need that. Let's see, what else did we get here? Heart, that's one I forgot to mention. Heart doesn't do anything. It's just for selling in the city, so we're gonna get rid of that because we're just looking for functional stuff. And there we go, it's piling in more dragon leather. And by the way, if you blow a horn, 3 times in a row, you want to see if the dragons pile on. I have found that it does not work. There's only so many dragons hidden in the ground. So if you waste 3 horns in the matter of a couple minutes, you really have wasted them. Wait until the dragons have mostly fizzled out from your first horn before you blow the second. There's one other thing I want to mention before we end this tutorial, because this dragon fight's going to last for a while. You can also bring chain lightning if you have the skill to use it. Chain lightning is something I'll show you probably in the next dragon tutorial just so you can see what it looks like. But what that does is it hits a certain number of targets within range, I think 5 miles, and it instant kills them. It doesn't instant kill players because they have shields and whatnot, but dragons don't have much HP at all. They're zerglings, if you think of it that way. There's thousands of them, but they don't do much damage on their own. So you can fire off that chain lightning and take out a whole bunch of them at once. That used to be really useful when killing dragons gave you reputation, but now that it doesn't, it just makes it harder to clean up your mess because they fall from all over the place and they don't fall right next to you. You end up having to fly all over the place to pick all that crap up. So I wouldn't recommend using chain lightning in this scenario unless you just want to see a bunch of dragons fall from the sky. It looks cool, but now it's not as useful as it used to be. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for this tutorial. There's really nothing much else to talk about with dragon hunting. It's extremely straightforward. It is very fun, and I hope that the developers add more PvE content, because so far it's just dragons, which can get kind of boring, and pirate hunting, which I'll show you in another tutorial coming up. I'm just waiting for a pirate to come and attack me so I can show you. Alright guys, that should be it. Good luck with your dragon hunting. Again, as always, if you have any questions, you can ask me in Steam. My name is XB Walker there as well, or some variant of XB Walker. You can ask me in game. I'm in it way too often, so you probably see me in game or one of the other Gorgonites players in game. And again, I'll mention if you need a code, a sign up code for the game, and you want to get a little bit of free stuff, then just look in the description below on this video or in Discord. You can ask me. My link to Discord is at gorgonites.com, and I will see you all in game. Thanks a lot.